function. No? So we define domain as the totality of all admissible values of independent variable x. No? So for which the function is defined. No? Tandaan, admissible values, no? For which the function is defined. No? So the domain of a rational function consists of all real numbers except those numbers that will make the denominator 0. No? No? Kasi pag 0 ang denominator mo, so magiging undefined siya. No? So that is for a rational function. No? Kung meron ka naman square root, no, the number or the expression inside the square root must be greater than or equal to 0. So only non-negative numbers have a real square root. No? So yun po, tandaan po natin yung dalawang yan. No? Then we have the steps in finding the domain. So step 1, no? So this is for rational function. So create an equation where the denominator is equal to 0. No? Then solve the equation. Then 3, write the domain in interval notation, roster notation, or in set builder notation. No? So gamitin natin si interval notation sa pagsulat ng domain. So wag natin gamitin si roster. No, masyadong matrabaho. No, pag sinabing roster kasi, so kailangan mo isulat lahat ng elements ng set. No? So kung ang domain mo, so pag ang domain mo, sinabing all real numbers, no? All real numbers. So matagal, no? Magsulat ng domain, no? Kasi lahat all real numbers including negative, decimals, no? Kung included si 0.01, no? So 0.001 kasali din siya. No, 0.0001, 0.00001, no? Kasali siya kasi real numbers 'yon. So kung roster notation yung gagamitin mo, no, tapos na yung calculus 1, no, hindi ka pa tapos magsulat ng elements ng sets mo. No? So kaya gamitin natin si interval notation. So steps in finding domain, no? Ito naman for rational square root function. No? So step 1, set the term inside the radicand to be greater than or equal to 0. No? Solve the inequality, then write the domain in interval notation. Writing the domain of the function using interval notation. So we have 3 rules, no, in interval notation. So number 1, so the format for expressing the domain is an open bracket or parentheses followed by 2 endpoints of the domain separated by comma followed by a closed bracket or parentheses. So use parentheses to indicate that a number is not included in the domain. No? Kung hindi kasali sa domain, no, we will use parentheses. No? Use bracket to indicate that a number is included. No? Kasali, so bracket. Then use U or union to connect parts of the domain that are separated by a gap. Then third rule, use infinity and negative infinity to express that the domain goes infinitely in either direction. No? So use parentheses, not brackets, for infinity symbols. No? So tandaan, use parentheses for infinity. No? For example tayo. So number 1, so find the domain of f of x equal to 2x minus 5 over x plus 4. No? Ano yung domain? No? So meron tayong rational function. No? So first step natin in finding the domain of a rational function is to create an equation and set the denominator equal to 0. No, ano yung denominator natin? X plus 4. So, x plus 4 equal to 0. Then step 2, solve the equation. No, solve for the value of x, no? So transpose natin si 4 sa right side. So x equal to negative 4, no? So negative 4 will make the denominator 0, no? Diba? 2x minus 5 or 2 times negative 4 minus 5 over negative 4 plus 4. No? So, negative 4 plus 4, 0. No? So, undefined si function. So, ibig sabihin, negative 4 is not included in the domain. No? So, hindi siya kasali. No? So, ano po yung domain in interval notation? No? So, yung domain natin is all real numbers except negative 4. So, in interval notation, so that is the union of negative 4 to negative infinity and negative 4 to positive infinity. So, ayan po yung domain natin. So, we use parentheses no, doon sa negative 4 kasi hindi included sa domain si negative 4. Then, we use parentheses sa negative infinity and positive infinity. So, f of x equal to 3x over x squared minus 5x minus 14. So, kunin natin denominator, then set to 0. 5x minus 14 equal to 0. Then, solve for the value of x. So, by factoring, so we have x minus 7 times x plus equal to 0. Solve for x. So, x minus 7 equal to 0. So, x equal to positive 7. Then, x plus 2 equal to 0. Then, x equal to negative 2. No? So, pag sinubstitute mo yan, di ba, 7 squared minus 5 times 7 minus 14 is 0. Substitute mo si negative 2. Negative 2 squared minus 5 times negative 2 minus 14. That is 0. No? So, ibig sabihin, 7 and negative 2 are not included in the domain of the function. No? So, ano natin siya isusulat? In interval notation. So, negative 2 and 7 are not included. So, gawa ka ng number line para mas madali. So, negative 2, 7. So, kuha ka test point. Diba, negative 3. So, pag kumuha ng negative 3, so that is greater than 0. No? Kuha ka ng test point dito. Diba, 0. Ano pag 0? So, hindi magsi-0 si denominator. Pag 8, kumuha ka ng 8 dito. So, hindi 0 si denominator. So, only negative 2 and 7 will make the denominator 0. So, they are not included. So, ang interval natin, so negative 2 to negative infinity. And union of, then included negative 2 to positive 7. Then, 7 to positive infinity. So, yan po yung domain natin. No? for 3. No? So find the domain of the function f of x equal to 2x minus 9 over x cubed plus 2x squared minus 8x. No? So, gawin natin. So, gawa tayo equation by setting the denominator to 0. So, we have x cubed plus 2x squared minus 8x equal to 0. Then solve for x. No? So factor out x in each term. So x times x squared plus 2x minus 8 equal to 0. No? So meron tayong quadratic. No? So kunin natin yung roots. No? So x times, so factoring. So we have x equal to 0. So factor natin ito. So x plus 4 times x minus 2. So check natin, x times x squared, 4 times negative 2, negative 8, 4x minus 2x, so positive 2x. Then solve for x. So first x, so x equal to 0. Then we have x plus 4 equal to 0. Then solve for x, so x equal to negative 4. And last, so x minus 2 equal to 0. Or x equal to positive. No? So, meron kang 3 values for x. So, 0, negative 4, and positive. So, these values of 0 will make the denominator 0 and will make the function undefined. No? So, that means 0, negative 4, and positive 2 are not included in the domain of the function. So the domain in interval form is the union of negative 4 to negative infinity, negative 4 to 0, then 0 to positive 2, and 2 to positive infinity. So, yun po yung domain ng function. So, next example, so find the domain of f of x equal to x plus 3. So, meron kang square root sign. So, first step, so set the expression inside the square root sign equal or greater than 0. So, we have x plus 3, so greater than or equal to 0. Then solve for x, or transpose positive 3. So we have x equal or greater than negative 3. So the value of x should be equal or greater than negative 3. So kapag nag-less than negative 3 ka dyan, so example, negative 4. So negative 4 plus 3. So equal to negative 1. So wala kang real roots, no? Kasi meron kang negative, square root of negative number. So yung domain mo for this function is negative 3 to positive infinity. So negative 3 is included in the 5. So square root of 10 minus 6x. So 10 minus 6x greater than or equal to 0. Then solve for x. So negative 6x Transpose natin si 10. So, greater than or equal to negative 10. Then, divide both sides by negative 6. X or equal. So, negative 10 over negative 6. So, positive 5 over 3. So, tandaan po yun. Sa inequalities, kung magdi-divide tayo or mag-multiply by negative numbers, so magre-reverse yung direction ng sign or magre-reverse yung sign natin. So, sa example natin, so from greater than equal, magiging less than or equal na siya. So x is less than or equal to 5 over 3. No? So, ang domain natin, so is 5 over 3 to infinity. Hit natin yung bracket, no? Kasi 5 over 3 is included in the domain of the function. No? Halimbawa, sinubstitute natin si 5 over 3. F of 5 over 3 so equal to 10 minus 6 times 5 over 3. So, meron kang 10 minus 10, square root of 0 is 0. No? So, included siya. So, ang expression natin inside the square root is pwedeng mag-0. No? So, bakit natin ginamit si parenthesis sa negative infinity? So, it means that all negative numbers, so pwedeng maging domain ng function natin. No? So, example, negative negative 3. No? So, 10 minus 6 times negative 3. So, we have 10. Negative 6 times negative 3. No? Positive 18. So, equal to square root of 18. So, nag-positive si numbers inside the square root. So, negative numbers are included in the domain of the function po. For using parentheses, so use parentheses or not brackets for infinity symbols, no? So, yun po. So, we use that number to express that the domain goes infinitely in either direction, no? So, pwedeng negative or positive infinity. Kung hindi tayo sure sa nakukuha nating sagot, no? So, pwede tayong kumuha ng test points, no? Substitute natin sa value ng x. Tingnan natin kung masasatisfy niya. So, lagi lang natin tandaan, kapag meron kang rational number, hindi pwede mag-zero ang denominator. Then kung meron kang square root, no, hindi pwede mag-negative yung expression inside the square root side. Next, example number 6. No? So, find the domain of the function square root of x squared minus 5x minus 14. No? So, for this example, so una natin gawin, so kunin natin yung zeros of the equation x squared minus 5x minus 14. No? So, set muna natin siya sa 0. So, hindi muna natin gagamitin yung greater than or equal to 0. No? So, solve natin. Solve for x. So, by factoring, so that is x minus 7 times x plus 2 equal to 0. No? So, solve for x. So, x equal to positive 7. Then, x equal to negative 2. So, meron kang two values. So, 7 and negative 2. Then, gawa tayo ng inequality. No? So, x squared minus 5x minus 14. So, greater than or equal to 0. No? So, anong tawag na dito sa 7 and negative 2? No? So, kung matatandaan natin nung senior high tayo, sa Gen Math, no? So, 7 and negative 2 are the critical numbers. No? So, paano natin makukuha yung domain of the function using these critical numbers? No? So, pinag-aralan natin noon, no? Gawa tayo ng number line. Number line, we have negative 2 and positive 7. No? So, negative 2 and positive 7 divide the number line into 3 intervals. No? So, meron kang negative 2 to negative infinity. So, ito yun. Then, negative 2 to positive 7 and 7 to positive infinity. So, kuha tayo ng test point in each interval. So, para ma-identify natin na kung anong interval ang magsasatisfy sa inequality natin na x squared minus 5x minus 14 greater than or equal to 0. So, halimbawa, no, kuha tayo ng test point at negative 2 to negative infinity. So, halimbawa, ang test point natin is negative 4. So, negative 4, substitute natin sa inequality natin. So, x squared. So, negative 4 squared minus 5 times negative 4 minus 40 greater than or equal to 0. So, ano yung sagot? Ano yung sagot? Negative 4 squared, 16.
22.
Negative 16.
22, sir.
22 po.
20 minus 14, 22. No? So,
22.
22 is greater than 0. Diba? So, na-satisfy niya. No? So, the interval, negative 2 to negative infinity, so will satisfy these inequalities. No? So, next, kuha ka ng test point between the interval, negative 2 and 7. So, let's say, 0. So, 0 squared minus 5 times 0 minus 14 greater than or equal to 0. That is negative 14 greater than or equal to 0. Na-satisfy?
Hindi, sir.
Hindi, sir.
So, hindi, no? So,
Hindi, sir.
negative 14 is less than 0. So, hindi niya na-satisfy. No? Negative 2, positive 7 does not satisfy the inequality. So, next, 7 to positive infinity. Let's say 8. So, 8 squared minus 5 times 8 minus 14 greater than or equal to 0. Ano po? Sabi,
10 po, sir.
10 po, sir.
10 po.
positive
10.
10. No? So,
Then,
10 is greater than 0. So, the interval 7 to positive infinity satisfy the inequality. So, ano yung domain natin? Ano yung domain? So, yung domain natin, yung intervals na nakapag-satisfy sa inequality na to. So, ano yun? No? So, that is negative infinity. So, the domain is the union of negative 2 to positive infinity and 7 to positive infinity. So, ayan po yung domain natin.